Blaze Hunter.
Yeah.
Do you find perhaps in the beginning of your delegation to others or programs may have been harder as you are essentially putting your livelihood in someone else's hands?
Oh yeah, delegating is a lot of upfront work.
Yeah.
It's so much. Like maybe there's so like with the scheduling software, it wasn't for me. It was not a lot of upfront work to get that done, and it saves me a bunch of time. But for most of the things, especially if you're hiring someone new, or like we were talking about with the emotes or a manager or something like that, it is so much work to save you time. It saves you time if you do it well, but it is so much work to save you.
Fortunately, the more you do it, the better it becomes, the easier it becomes. So like the first couple of times you're doing it, it's like, oh, that's a pain. And like you have to do all this extra stuff, but then it becomes a lot more fluid. And sometimes they get to help you work with other people in the future too, where you two have a good relationship and you know how it functions and how it works. And then you get to offload that onto somebody else and show them how you guys can work together really well too. And that becomes really fluid. So just like dive in, do that work first, see the results later, and then utilize that, like leverage that into more relationships and more functionality.
Yeah. And I think I think the question is also getting into, you know, how letting go, right? So are you able to go hands off on something, especially in the beginning when it's well, this person essentially putting your livelihood in someone else's hands. I think that's the perfect time to do it, because if it's only going to get more that way the longer you go on, right? So let's say you started building your stream and then you are seeing some modicum of success, right? You're going to be even more apprehensive to delegate something at that point, because you're saying, well, now I know how to do it. I don't want someone else to mess it up. Get in the habit of doing that early. If you really think that, if you're really worried about it being something that like you think is really essentially only outside of, you need to have it inside of your control, then maybe you need to evaluate what part of that needs to be essentially yours, right? So if I'm doing contract review or something like that, I know that I'm the one that needs to read the contract because I'm the one that has the knowledge of what goes into it and what goes out. But what can I delegate out of that? Well, if I'm taking notes on it, I can have someone else take the notes. I can if I'm drafting a memo about what I reviewed, I can just like write down a quick outline and have someone else draft the memo. There's always some other part that can be delegated. Nothing is like kind of one and done in one whole piece, especially in content creation also.
Well, and we talked a lot about with the, sorry, go on, Loco.
Oh no, I just wanted to give an example that's like more specifically for streamers. Setting up your mod team is a great example of something that's an initial, large investment of time. And then that delegation becomes so critical to your stream day to day. Like the amount, like we have mod meetings every month, setting up like, you know, what should they be banning, purging, the rules of the stream, what should they be enforcing, helping to plan events and stuff. That's something where it's like, you're going to spend a lot of time crafting your mod team, teaching them what to do, you know, what do you want highlighted, expectations, like the commitment that's required of them, just working with them, communicating with them. It takes a lot of initial investment, but then it's like they help so much. Like they are like 50% of how the stream runs for me and the community. So that's just one example for content creation in you know, specific.
That's a great example because that's universal. Like that's not like not everybody has a manager. Everybody's got mods. Everybody's got mods.